Well, hello traders and investors, I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap, where we take a look at these markets and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. Each time we're asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube and it's under the channel L.A. Little. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Anytime content's pushed, you get a notification. I also do a show on Sunday where it's a broader view. Look at the weekly view. I do a show on Sunday morning to members. And that members show is kind of an interesting show in that we take a broader look at what's happening. And if I zero this in a little bit here, one of the things we did this past broadcast is we talked about what was going to happen on the NASDAQ. And if I flop down here and I pop into the notes and I give you the notes here, and if I'll just scroll down to them. But what I wanted to show you was that we talked about what was the possibility of the worst case likely case, all right? What were the possibilities? And I'll put it here center for you. And we talked about, the best case, worst case. I always try to give the 3. I talked about the likely case. What's likely to happen? Pull back to 4,400 on the NASDAQ and then a potential A, B, C, D up. Well, let's take a look at the numbers tonight. We go down, we start down, we head down heavy, we flip it all around, head back the other way. We end up with almost a 1% gain on the Russell, on the NDX, also on the NASDAQ. S&P lags a bit, about 0.5%. Nikkei up tonight. Nikkei, you had an over-under a test failure actually on the yen. That's going to put some juice behind the Nikkei probably. All flipped around from down 4.5–5% to positive. Of course, they attributed to the market rally to that. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We had the DAX get back and try to generate lower, but it's actually at a key spot. We'll look at it. Gold up big, flips around. Bonds up big, flip around. What's happening? You got a reversal tonight, and that reversal is in these stocks. And I want to show you, I'm going to pull up the NASDAQ, and we're going to start with it. And what we have here is a pullback to what? 45.25. Excuse me, 44.25. About 25 points from where I thought it might come. Trades back in there. If you remember last night, I actually said we were short on the Qs. We flipped around, covered those Qs, and we were looking at 2 bars. I want to show you these 2 bars. That was what I was looking at this weekend when I was talking about a pullback this week and saying, hey, we could pull back into this area. And that's exactly what it did. Flips around, right? The buyers come in where they were expected. That's where I expected them. That's where they showed up. That's what I told members. Today we covered those shorts here. We got long some other stuff. Got to push up. A reversal as it was, and what we're going to see is we're going to see hammer reversals in most of these indexes and sectors tonight. This thing's going to squeeze these shorts. Now what happened and what has been happening is you've had a lot of pressure to the downside, right? Ever since the beginning of the year, it's just been a sell-off after sell-off. Got a little bounce, another sell-off, another bounce. People were expecting another sell-off. Well, as they came back, buyers show up, you reverse it. Anyone that's still short and wasn't paying attention today is fixing to see this thing try to push back up and make new highs, get over a swing point high. If I go to the S&P 500, you're going to see that setup clear. And what we have there is a clear demarcation of where it's going to try to go. That's right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get there tomorrow. As I said, you got hammer reversals all over the place tonight. You push it down, you can't keep it down, they flip it back around. They're going to try to break this thing out over the swing point high tomorrow. You're going to have that everywhere you look, folks. So you got it on the Russell, you got it on the NASDAQ, you got it on the NDX, you have it on the S&P 500. They're all flipping around. Now what we're going to see tonight, and I'm going to flip over to the overseas market at this point, is we're going to see the overseas market start to flip around as well and going to follow our lead. I'm going to start with the DAX. I've been watching the DAX, and the reason for it is it seems to be what pushes our market around, up and down. Every now and then we push it like we're probably going to do tonight. But that retest, regenerate zone, if you remember, they got over it, they peaked over it, and then they traded back under it, and they started to try to regenerate lower. What I would point out to you is, it's not a way to look at that chart and say, hey, it looks okay. It doesn't look okay. But it's coming back into an area where if the buyers are going to show up, it's going to be right here. And so tomorrow we're going to see if there are buyers in Europe. And if there are, then this thing's going to flip around just like our markets did, and it's going to head back the other way. If I look at Asia, Hong Kong, there you had a little bit of a pullback, but not much. This one also looks like it's going to try and flip around at this support zone. Pushing over to another concept, and that is currencies. Now, I've been scratching my head on these currencies, and quite honestly, I'm not sure what's moving them right now. They're not doing what I expect. But one of the reasons I'm thinking that S&P NASDAQ move today is potentially going to turn that German market and the European market around is that this can't regenerate as it should. In other words, we're coming into a swing point high, and I'm on the euro now on the daily. You're coming into a swing point high. That should hold price and flip it around and take it right back the other way, right? That should take it right back the other way, which would make it stronger, which would be tough on equities. But it just can't seem to do it. And, when you're more than 6 bars, the probabilities favor that you're not even going to get to the bottom of this bar, that you're only going to get maybe into the top part of this zone. But this one's going in there 3 days now, tested 3 times. Now, maybe I'll be wrong and this thing will flip around, but it looks to me like it's going to break down, which is not the odds-on case. I can't give you a fundamental reason for that, but it seems to be what wants to happen. Get back into this big Draghi bar if it does, and potentially they're just going to sell it down until Draghi does whatever he's going to do in 2 weeks. The yen I spoke about in the Japanese market, yen test failure at the highs, a little bit less volume. That looks to finally kind of seal the deal here on a straight up move and some sort of a range trade. So that should help the Japanese markets. And then the other thing I alluded to today is that it wasn't just the equities flipping around. Everything else flipped around with them. If you look at the bonds test failed into the bottom of the big bar. That's a test failure back the other way. And if you look at gold, you got the same case. Gold goes up, tests into that higher part of the range, fails into the big bar, closes under it. Gold's going to come back down as well. So when I look at all these things, put them together, it's just what I said to members this weekend. We're probably going to try to press it down, flip it around, catch the shorts with their shorts down, and squeeze the heck out of them. And that's what it looks like to me. Folks, have yourself a great night. Come over and join us. I'll teach you how to trade, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Good night, folks.